terms of his functioning on a cognitive level, absolutely there's been deterioration. I mean, Donald is somebody who has had severe psychiatric disorders for decades. When he talks about how enthusiastic the crowd at the debate was, he's probably talking about himself. He was his audience for that debate in many, many ways. And I think he's being pushed further and further because of Vice President Harris's success, because of his own failures, into a world that is more delusional.
What if I told you Donald Trump's behavior isn't just impulsive, it's predictable? According to his niece, Mary Trump, this isn't just politics, it's psychology. In a jaw-dropping TV moment, she revealed the lies and the root cause of his desperate need for control. Don't move. You're about to find out why she says there's no hope for redemption.
It's so interesting how you describe it. I mean, this is what we're seeing today, as I mentioned, or that's how I see it. I mean, you've observed your uncle for more than 50 years, for better or worse, and I know it's been worse at many times.
There is some focus on Donald because he and I grew up, although in different generations, in the same family. And I had the great misfortune of sort of watching how all of that unfolded. Donald is as bad as he's always been. This is somebody who's never evolved. This is somebody who seems worse behaviorally simply because he's being given more opportunities to be worse.
Before we continue, if you appreciate this content, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It's free and it helps our channel grow. Thank you. Now back to the video. Mary Trump just dropped a bombshell that has Donald pacing in the gold-plated halls of Mar-a-Lago. If you thought his extravagant tantrums were dramatic before, wait until you hear what Mary, a trained clinical psychologist, mind you, had to say on live TV. She didn't just throw shade, she pulled out a spotlight and lit him up with a full-blown psychological profile. And let's just say, Donald isn't going to be framing this one next to his fake Time magazine covers. Now, in case you didn't already know, Mary Trump isn't just Donald's niece. She's a psychologist with real credentials, meaning her insights come with a level of authority that goes beyond gossip. But she's not your average family member airing grievances over Thanksgiving dinner. Mary has been dissecting the Trump family dynamic for years, and trust me, the word dysfunctional doesn't scratch the surface. On her latest TV appearance, she discussed her uncle's obsession with power, particularly his fantasy of being president for life. And this wasn't just a metaphor. Mary argued that Donald's fixation on control goes back to his emotional development, or more specifically, his lack thereof.
I wanted to play for you to this point. I mean, he seemed surprised, this week, Trump, that a woman could be doing better than him on the stage, better than a man.
They put her in, and she somehow, a woman, somehow she's doing better than he did.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine it can last.
Well, we are a family of misogynists. Even many of the women in my family were misogynists.
According to Mary, Donald is emotionally stuck in childhood, a stage of his life where tantrums got him attention and manipulation earned him results. Basically, she claims his emotional toolkit never expanded, leaving him reliant on the same tactics he used as a kid. It explains a lot, doesn't it? The constant need for validation, the bizarre grudges, the way he lashes out on social media like it's a schoolyard. But here's where it gets heavy. She connected this to his long-running admiration for authoritarian leaders. Remember those moments when he heaped praise on people like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un? Mary suggests this isn't a coincidence. To Donald, these figures represent the kind of control he craves, the unchecked power he associates with success and admiration. And if you think she's overanalyzing, just think back to when Donald floated the idea of declaring martial law after the election. Didn't go his way. It's not just about desperation, it's about control, plain and simple. To him, being in charge isn't about serving the public, it's about forcing the world to revolve around him. And according to Mary, this isn't just a personality quirk, it's the result of what she described as a brutal family dynamic. She revealed that Donald's father, Fred Trump, was obsessed with power and dominance, raising his kids with the same cold, ruthless values. Mary even suggested that in the Trump family, love wasn't unconditional. It was a transaction. You didn't earn love, you earned approval, and approval came through power. But as scathing as her assessment is, Mary doesn't make these claims lightly. She pairs them with concrete examples. Take his infamous feud with the press. Mary pointed out that Trump's repeated attacks on journalism aren't just about controlling headlines.
His nonsense is untranslatable. So what ends up happening, because human beings need to make meaning of things, is that certain reporters and journalists end up imbuing Donald's meaningless statements.
It's the sane washing of all of it, which is so interesting. The audience of him is I didn't think of it that way, but makes a lot of sense.
I hope that more media outlets allow us to hear what Donald's actually saying instead of taking it upon themselves to quote unquote translate him.
They're about controlling the narrative entirely. That's what his father taught him. Control means power, and power means worth. It's a dangerous mix of psychology and politics, especially when you realize just how deeply ingrained these patterns are. And if you still need convincing, Mary explained why this behavior isn't random or unexpected. She claims Trump's actions are highly predictable if you understand the psychology behind them. His admiration for dictators, predictable. His insistence that he won an election he clearly lost, predictable. His tantrums, his deflections, his constant need to shift blame. All of it, she says, traces back to these ingrained childhood wounds. It's like watching a bad reality show where you already know exactly what the star is going to do next, but somehow it's still shocking. But wait, it gets worse. Mary isn't done spilling the psychological tea. In fact, her next revelation is even more unsettling. There's no hope for Donald's redemption. If you think anything we've heard so far is grim, her next diagnosis will leave you rethinking what unchecked power can do to a person and to an entire country. Mary's analysis starts with what she calls his stunted emotional development. While most people gain self-awareness or empathy over time, she claims Trump got stuck right in the emotional equivalent of a playground temper tantrum. The constant need for attention, the inability to handle criticism, and the way he lashes out at anyone who challenges him isn't just part of a political strategy, it's part of him. Her chilling quote sums it up perfectly. There is no worst, there is only worse. And if you look at how his behavior has spiraled over the years, it's tough to argue. Let's take a closer look. One glaring example of this downward spiral is his open war with the press. Now, it's no secret that Trump isn't exactly a fan of journalists, but his actions against the Associated Press crossed into downright authoritarian territory. After a court ruled the AP should be reinstated into the White House press pool, Trump went nuclear, not only ignoring the court, but removing all wire services entirely. These weren't just petty jabs, these were deliberate moves to silence critical voices and tighten his grip on the narrative. And as Mary points out, it's not happening randomly. It's all consistent with a psychological need for control that has been ingrained his entire life. Then there's his fixation with authoritarian leaders. You probably remember those warm, almost fawning remarks he once made about Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un. But things got downright absurd when he rolled out the red carpet for Nayib Bukele, El Salvador's president. Bukele's not exactly the poster boy for democracy. The man's been systematically dismantling his country's institutions, even the ones meant to check his power. Mary says Trump's admiration for people like Bukele isn't just impulsive, it's predictable. To Trump, those leaders are everything he aspires to be, unchallenged, unquestioned, and ultimately above the rules. It's not just an admiration of power, it's envy. Here's the kicker though, Mary Peter Parker eyes this whole ordeal by reminding us that with great power comes great risk of even bigger tantrums. The more power Trump gains, the more he demands to keep it, and the further he's willing to go to avoid losing it. Take the court cases piling up against him, for example. Most people might take that as a signal to dial things back. Trump, he doubles down, calling the cases political witch hunts and rallies his base to echo every word. It's a cycle, and not one where redemption is even on the table. Instead of using setbacks as a chance to reflect, Mary says Trump sees them as attacks to bulldoze through, which only accelerates the decline. Her framework really does make you look at all this differently. What on the surface seems like chaos is actually much more calculated than we may have realized, but not in a cunning Machiavellian way. It's just Trump's default programming. Mary argues that every move he makes follows a pattern shaped by a deeply broken family structure, one that rewarded control and domination over emotional growth. It's not a strategy, it's a survival mechanism, and one that doesn't leave much room for humanity, let alone redemption. Mary Trump's analysis isn't just about Donald, it's a warning about what happens when power goes unchecked. She believes the American experiment itself is teetering, describing this moment as critical for democracy. Her message isn't just about diagnosing her uncle's behavior, but about the danger of letting it define an entire nation. Mary emphasizes that real change starts with resistance, urging people to get fed up and declare, "We won't put up with it anymore." So maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop letting Big Baby Donald throw his tantrums unchecked, whether from the Oval Office or, more likely, Mar-a-Lago's Gilded Corner.